So I've been doing some research, and it took me a minute to actually do like a post or a video about this because I wanted to know exactly what was going on, and there was a lot of conflicting information. So I'm going to tell you what, from my research, it seems like was going on, breaking it down on a really basic level. Why did Silicon Valley Bank get closed down by regulators? The way that I think easiest to explain this is, one, because they lend to a lot of tech companies, those tech companies have been having a lot of expenses lately, but not having as much revenue. And tech companies, and this is a general statement, not for everybody, but many tech companies are operating at a loss. They have a lot more expenses than they actually will see in profit, right? They're not, some of them are not profitable. And this year it's been even harder because many times to bridge that gap, they've raised capital. Like that's been getting harder and harder to get. So instead of being able to go and raise funds, they've been having to go and get money that they had in the bank and use that money. Well, because more and more of them are actually starting to need cash, Silicon Valley Bank realized that, hey, we're going to have to shore up our resources. And the only way that they could start raising money as a bank was, seems like, one of three ways. Silicon Valley Bank needed to either sell the bonds that they had, they needed to sell shares of their company, or they needed to be bought all out, like they needed to sell their whole company. So it seems like their first attempt was, well, let's just sell our company, but nobody wanted to buy them. So then they said, okay, well, as clients have given us money and given us money in their bank accounts, we've invested it into bonds. So when they mature, then we'll have the client's money plus some interest, right? Well, we need money right now. So let's go sell those bonds that we have in the market to try to bring some cash into the bank. Unfortunately, though, the bonds that they have were not worth as much as when they first bought them. And the reason why is because when they bought the bond had a lower interest rate. And so now they're going out into the market and saying, hey, we want to raise some cash. We need to sell you this bond. Will you buy this bond from us? And the market's like, I could get a higher interest rate somewhere else. That's not worth as much anymore. Like, why would I buy that from you? And so they had to take a loss on the bonds because they said, well, hey, I need to sell it to you anyway. I'm desperate. Just give me something for this bond. Then they said, okay, well, we sold the bonds, we raised some cash, but it's still not enough. So now we're going to have to go sell shares of our company. So then they started trying to sell shares of their company. One of the problems that came in, though, is while they're going through this process of trying to raise cash themselves, their entrepreneurs start getting whiff of this. And it gets into social media and different places like, hey, y'all, they're trying to raise money. Y'all better go get your money out that bank. The bank is not healthy. So now more and more people are starting to ask for their cash. And within a short amount of time, billions of dollars had gotten taken out of the bank. That's when regulators stepped in and said, you know what, we're shutting this bank down because you don't have enough money to actually pay these people what they have in the bank, their deposits. Now, once regulators shut them down, then we got into a place where all the other people who hadn't pulled their money out, now their accounts were frozen. Now they went to go get withdrawals. And remember, these are tech companies. So this is not just, and some of it might be just mom and pop, but these are like CFOs and companies that need to do payroll. So now they're going to the bank, to Silicon Valley Bank, and saying, hey, we have payroll coming up. And I legit have a friend, and she said, Teri, my payroll is $1.5 million a month. So if a bank shuts us down and we can't pay payroll, like we're done for. And then the problem is, like, think about that one friend, her payroll is 1.5 million. Even if the government came in and said, well, we're insured $250,000, she'd be like, what are you talking about? I can't do nothing with $250,000. Like, I need another 1.25 million just for this month. So that's when the government stepped in and said, you know what? It's not these people's fault. Like, they need to pay payroll. These are companies like CEOs, founders. They need to pay all their staff. Like, if they can't pay their staff, it's going to become an even bigger problem. So they said, we'll make sure that you can get your deposits out. Like, you can get the money out that you have in that account, even if it's more than $250,000. That was the big news that they told everybody this weekend.